Welcome to another edition of CSN Interviews. Tyler Gallo here today with another guest, sitting down with former Colonials quarterback Caleb Lewis. He's actually on his way to join the FCF, and he's also a signee of the Duke City Gladiators. But like I said, before he goes there, he will be joining the FCF. Caleb, thanks so much for joining me today.
Yeah, appreciate it, Tyler. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Glad we can make this happen.
Right. All right. So before we get into talking about the IFL and the FCF, we're going to look at your college career a little bit. So you obviously started at LSU. Walking on there over Ohio, FIU, and Buffalo. What stood out about LSU over other schools?
Yeah, man, I grew up LSU fan really my whole life. After that 2003 national championship, I just gravitated, towards the Tigers, and I was always a huge fan. So being able to go play at your, the school you were a fan of as a kid, it was a dream come true, really. Tremendous experience. It was tough, but all good things are usually difficult. So yeah, it was an incredible time.
That's awesome to hear. I remember days going, because I'm from Delaware, I remember going to that field and just seeing how crazy it was. I can only imagine how it was at LSU. So playing under Coach O, obviously, what was it like learning under him, and what was the system like?
Coach O, tremendously passionate. He's the coach who gave me a scholarship for my last year there. So that was incredible. Playing under a couple of different coordinators, Coach Matt Canada, who actually just became the Pittsburgh's OC. Super stoked for him on that. He was my offensive coordinator, and we had a lot of shifts, motions, jets, and stuff. So it was pretty cool. Over my 3 years there, I had 3 different coordinators, offensive coordinators, which for production and playing usually is a little more difficult, but definitely in my expanding my knowledge of the game, it's really, really good to be able to have to force yourself to learn new things. And it was a learning experience and definitely positive overall.
Yeah, how did it feel to get that scholarship?
Yeah, I mean, it's like 2 parts. Whereas one thing, it was the goal I had set for myself, and I knew that I was prepared to take that role because I had put that work in. I knew that was what I was destined for in my own mind, and I knew that was what I was called to strive after. So getting there, it was this is kind of what, maybe not what I deserve, but I know I earned it. And the other side is it's ecstasy, man. It was an incredible moment to be able to call FaceTime my parents and tell them that I achieved what I set out to do, which is always an incredible feeling.
Right, yeah, achieving a goal definitely is incredible. So you did get into a game. I mean, even in victory formation, how did it feel to get in the game against Texas A&M on such a big stage at LSU?
Yeah, I mean, it was dope because it's just really cool, seeing how excited my teammates were for me. Even just to be able to do that simple thing. I can say, I took a snap at Tiger Stadium, and not many people get to say that. And
right.
Awesome. It really is just dope.
Awesome. So after a few years at LSU, you obviously came over here, RMU, transferred over. What stood out about RMU as opposed to the other schools you could look at?
Yeah, Coach Clark was, I'm not gonna lie, he's really the sole reason that I ended up making the jump. He recruited me while he was still at Albany, and we're both from Florida, and he, was very diligent, and I really liked how he recruited me while he was at Albany. So it kind of was a natural move, and I just gravitated towards, that type of energy and that type of leadership that Coach Clark exhibits day in and day out, being consistent in that way. Because I came to RMU without a visit. I really came on, just the trust that I had in Coach Clark to, grow the program. And, I think we had, in those 2 years, tremendous growth.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You could see it. There was talks of a culture shift, which I'm going to get on now. You came to RMU basically the same season that Coach Clark did, and he transformed the team from a struggling NEC team to second in the conference last year. Did you feel the culture shift as he was there, or was it sort of the gradual process, like you said?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of both. It's definitely a process, but, he set the tone right away for, what the standard would be, as far as work ethic, attention to detail, striving after excellence, keeping each other accountable. Between him, obviously the rest of the coaches, and then Coach Day coming in, our strength coach, him and his staff, they really set the standard physically and mentally how to be tough and get in there. But, you know, what it really comes down to is you can have the best coaches in the world, but if your team doesn't buy in, no change will really occur. And that's really what we felt like in that off season, especially that summer going into the last 2019 season. Everyone showed up at 6 a.m. in the morning to get that work in. And that was why we were prepared to go and compete during the season.
Right, and you could definitely, hear guys talking about buying in, especially, when we would interview them here for CSC or stuff like that, and just, guys talking around the newsroom. But what do you think your favorite moment was during your time here?
Man, getting, my first, true collegiate start at VMI, against a team that, we knew we were going to win, but, most people looked at it as we were big underdogs. It's a bigger school with some, tremendous tradition behind them. But, getting that first, road win, and I don't know how many years, 10 years or whatever it was for the school, and seeing our work against a greater opponent, we were able to accomplish something, pretty special there. And I think that game too was a catalyst into our NAC play that, we knew we could hang with anybody.
Absolutely. And, speaking of first in NEC, you were instrumental in snapping the losing streak in 2019, beating St. Francis in overtime. First off, what's the mindset, especially being down late in the game, going in like that? And then how did it feel to finally get the monkey off the back, per se?
Yeah, I'd say it's two things. It's kind of a dichotomy between, Coach Clark preaches every day of, one play at a time, one day at a time, one game at a time. So, in order to get that comeback, we were down 10 or 13, I think it was, in the late third quarter. We needed to execute. We needed to focus on everyone doing their job, stay together, and and then still having the end goal of, we want to win the game, but you got to take care of that one thing at a time to be able to get there. And guys were making some incredible plays for me. I can't do anything alone. Gonzo on that last catch with however a minute left, to tie the game up to get into overtime. I mean, it was just great execution, and that's what it comes down to. But yeah, no, that's fun. As a quarterback too, you never really want to be losing in a game, but also that's what makes the greats great is you prepare to get in that situation to lead your team to victory. That's the situation you want as a leader, as a competitor, to get that chance. And thankfully we were able to make the most of it in that in that instance.
Right, absolutely. And then that transformed into the success last season. Absolutely. Yeah. Coming in second, but I mean, that was not where the team was expected to go. So definitely just the gradual process of moving up the ladder is incredible to see. You mentioned Matt Gonzalez, obviously. Was he your favorite target or teammate, or was there another guy who was your favorite teammate here?
Well, I'll say a question that may ruffle some feathers, but I had, right when I got here, it was a tough or got to Pittsburgh to Moon. It was a tough transition for me. Being a Southern kid, I never had experienced a winter really ever in my life. So, Leno, Madison, and Terrence, Stevens, and then Deontay were my closest three friends. And then it was also pretty cool, between them, kind of taking me under. And then when we got that next freshman class coming in with some of those freshmen I'm still super close to, Steve and Jake, I still talk to them on a pretty regular basis. So kind of getting that, someone helping you out and you're able to help someone else out. That's kind of the beauty of a football team, as a whole. But yeah, I say they get mad at me if I didn't say that they were. It's Leno and T and Deontay for sure.
Awesome.
We just put working together, man. We're out there all the time.
Yeah, you can definitely see it out there too. So following RMU, you signed with the Quad City Steamwheelers last year. Obviously, that season was cut short a little bit. You did get into a game before the season was shut down.
Perfect. It was 1-for-1.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So how did you prepare to transition to the much smaller field in the IFL? And then how tough was it to lose the season due to COVID?
Yeah, arena is something that I always kind of wanted to do. Even as a kid, I loved watching the AFL on TV. The craziest thing about it is just the speed of the game. It just happens so fast when you got the high motions, the guys sprinting up at the line of scrimmage. Everything happens so fast. But still football, which is, the cool part too. So it's fun. It's just really, really fun. I really love it, really enjoy it. It's just cool to be able to kind of do a different type of football, I guess, experience the game in a different way, find, a deeper love for it. And and then, got hit with COVID and, the pandemic, which I know is tough on everybody, but, more grateful than anything, especially after the fact, my family stayed healthy, which I'm incredibly grateful for. And it was definitely a season of, reflection and learning truly how to work, because, that level of determination really gets exposed in some people if you're not really willing to, really put your head down and grind and stay ready for an opportunity like this with the FCF. If I wasn't training throughout the fall while I was teaching and I was coaching, if I wasn't doing that, I wouldn't have been ready when the opportunity presents itself. So it was tough, but it was tough for everyone, and that's kind of the nice thing about it. It wasn't even playing field, at least. But felt like my life got put on pause for a year, but here now and just ready to keep pushing forward.
Awesome. That's definitely a great mindset to have. And, the indoor football definitely sort of, because I play hockey, it sort of reminds me of if like you took the checking aspects of hockey and sort of put it in football. So it's that's cool to see. And then you actually had a touchdown called back in that first game. Do you think you crossed the line? You think you were in, or do you think that they made
I think I got in, and that is what I'm going to stick to. It was close, but I think I got in. But I had everyone, kind of joking me about I should just put my shoulder down and get in the end zone. I honestly did not expect to get that far, to be completely honest. So I was happy to get close to the end zone. I was kind of mad coach didn't give me a sneak the next play, though.
Yeah.
One boy Trey, and he got in. But, win's a win.
Yeah. So following Quad City, obviously, last month you signed with Duke City, the Gladiators. What about that team jumped out at you in the same league?
Yeah, Coach Martino is the head coach, and then Matt Avila, who's the general manager. They, they just were straight up. They were honest with me of what my role was going to be. I'm coming in behind Nate Davis, who's a 4, 5, 6 year NFL vet. He played for the Niners and the Colts, and it'll be someone really good to learn under. And they want to develop me, and hopefully develop this thing into maybe coming back next year to be the guy, or parlay this into another opportunity. Because it was tough, because I actually was signed to the Quad City, and then the owner decided to go dormant because of certain restrictions with COVID, and completely understand all that. And they reached out and gave me a home when I didn't have one, so deeply appreciative of that, just to get another opportunity to play ball. And that's all this whole journey is for the love of the game, and trying to pursue this path. And just hopefully it's going to be a great marriage, and we'll get to win. And that's another part, that their history, they're moving up in leagues, but they've won the championship in the CIF, another indoor football league, for the last 3 years. So they have a championship mindset, and that's what I'm about. I'm about winning above all else. So that was another big part of what drew me to that team.
Yeah, awesome to hear. And the COVID shutdowns obviously affected everyone, as you said. How has it been adjusting to playing during this uncertain time?
Yeah, I was really blessed with some people down in Fort Lauderdale. Thankfully, I come from a football family, and my dad's a coach of a high school team. So I was able to, get a job coaching. I was able to coach my little brothers, who are both they were sophomores this past season. So that was a pretty redemptive time, a time I didn't think I was going to get to have. I got to experience a full season of their high school football, and they, succeeded greatly. So that was really, really cool there. And then it had a bunch of other people, in and out of the school. A couple coaches, Coach Garish, John Garish is, one of my, sprint coaches. David Torrance is he's the strength coach for the school, and he also is kind of my personal trainer. And then all the guys down at Goldfeet Global, Tevin Jr., Ree, and Joe, they gave me, a space to be able to continue to perform, and gave me people to be able to continue to get better each and every day, which is great. I'm just the beauty of Florida is that you never had a bad day to work. I don't have to worry about the weather. We can go to an open field and, not really have to be all that concerned about, COVID, because we're outside, we're spread out, we're playing ball. So it was really cool to be able to still, pursue, what I was able to do, even though, everything was all mixed up.
So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely been an adjustment period for everyone. So it's awesome to hear that you've been able to sort of parlay that into being able to work on your game and as well as coaching, which in Florida, I mean, high school football is just insane there. So, that's I've heard it from other guys too. So that's definitely a good place to be. So before you head
I want to cut in and talk some trash for all the Whippeal guys. They think they can. It's just not the case. It's not the case. It's just not true. Delusional, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, so, before you head to the IFL, excuse me, obviously you're wearing the FCF gear now. You're headed to fan-controlled football, which is sort of a newer thing that's happening. So can you tell viewers who may not know what it is, what goes in this league, and how they can help you?
Yeah, so I'm here in Atlanta, Northeast Atlanta right now. We got a bubble set up, which is pretty incredible because right now we're one of 2 pro football leagues that are actually, in operation currently. It's us in the NFL. We got some tremendous talent here from all over the place. So it's indoor football. It's a version of indoor football. It'll be 7-on-7. So it'll be 2 or 3 linemen, quarterback, 3 receivers, or 3 skill position players. But really what the draw is in the name, fan control football. So the fans get to interact. They get to call plays. They get to decide the rules. They get to challenge calls. Like they get more or less, it's like playing Madden, but with real players. So it's an incredible concept that Ray Austin, our commissioner, he's had this, his vision for this has been up, 7 years. I had a conversation with him the other day, and he's finally getting to, put it into action, which is, just incredible. A lot of the stuff all the players were still learning exactly all the rules and how everything's going to go, but it's going to be incredibly fast paced, trying to light up the scoreboard, all those things. We're running an air raid system. Coach John Jenkins, who's like the air raid legend for your football historians. But yeah, and they can go online. You get to join a team, be a fan of a team, and you get to pick your players. And it's really cool concept, and I hope it goes smoothly and everything. And really the wild part for me in my head is like you could be on one team one week and another team the next week. You could end up playing for there's 4 teams, so you can play for all 4 teams. And it's wild. It's one of those things that's so out of your control. You just got to find the next completion and just play ball.
Right. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. Definitely a new opportunity. And it does present a new opportunity for you. How have you prepared for this? And also, what has the process leading up to the season been like?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just football. As a quarterback, and Coach Cameron, my first OC at LSU, he just said it's all about completion. So you just got to find the next completion, prepare your butt off, learn, lead, go to work every day. Just do the work and, just let the game come to you. Don't try to force anything. Just show up, do the work, keep getting better. And that's really the whole, that's really the whole process. No need to make it more complicated than that. You're just going to end up stressing yourself out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Just showing up to work each day.
Awesome. Well, that we're sort of drawing to the end here, but if you want to plug anything else, this is the time you can do it now. Obviously, we're going to definitely be paying attention to you during this FCF season as it's sort of a new thing for everyone. So, yeah, if you want to plug anything or shout anything out, feel free to do it right now.
Yeah, so another cool thing that they're allowing us to do, they're allowing us to put more or less whatever we want on our nameplate. Ooh. So what I take mine is push the rock. And my teammates will know kind of the background of that. It's like my personal mantra. And it's really about dedication and determination, perseverance, all those things. The short version of the story is, there's a Greek myth about this guy who was punished and he was destined to push a rock up a hill. And that was his whole job. He had to do that until the end of time. One of my mentors in high school kind of switched the story for me. And he said, there's this kid, pushing a rock day after day after day, and it never moved. But then on the day he needed to get it to move, he was able to do so. So it's really about, preparing every day, putting the work in, even if you don't feel like there's any progress, so that when, your teammates need you, your team needs you, when you need yourself to succeed, you're prepared for that situation. You are able to execute, on the level of what you need to do. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks once again for sitting down. It's been Tyler Gallo and Caleb Lewis. Once again, good luck this season in the FCF. We'll be keeping our eyes on you here at CSN. And, yeah, thanks once again for sitting down with me today.
Cool. Yeah, appreciate it, man.